Group for his proven track record in travel e-commerce, including at Holiday Check, STA Travel, and eBookers. He's now responsible for coordinating and leading all marketing and digital functions across the group. Please welcome Gilles Despas, Chief Marketing and Digital Officer of Thomas Cook Group. So great to have you.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad that you as a tour operator are taking the challenge to come and speak at the Phocuswright conference.
We're back.
Oh, that's a strong statement. Let's quickly engage the audience first. Gilles Despas is the CMO and Digital Chief Officer of Thomas Cook. Who in the audience would like to have his job? Please raise your hand. Oh, Gilles, that's
so
looking
many.
tough out there for you.
It's good for me. It's good for me.
So you're facing a lot of challenges, right? And looking forward to having a discussion with you on those. Now, before we get deeper into it, you have actually left quite a cool job at Holiday Check. You are now 15 months with Thomas Cook, and you're still there. That's quite impressive.
It is. Even for myself.
You know, because, you know, in our industry, we talk about CDO and CMO jobs are normally on the eject button, right? But you've lasted quite long. But let me ask the first question. Why did you leave like a Holiday Check digital business going into a legacy business like Thomas Cook? What was, because the way I understood it, you left Holiday Check before you had a job, right? Because you just wanted to do something different.
So there are two reasons. One is a professional reason, and the other one is a personal reason. The professional reason is I wanted a challenge that is rewarding in terms of size. And Thomas Cook is a huge company and has a lot of potential if you can succeed in transforming the company digitally and in terms of marketing. We are talking about billions of euros of turnover, so if you can turn it around, the reward is very high. The personal reason is more meeting with someone, the CEO of Thomas Cook, Peter Frank-Karozar, who has done a great job over a few months in convincing me to actually join the group.
And thirdly, you like challenges.
And I like challenging, and I have been served.
Fantastic. You know, in my opening speech, one of the questions that I threw out there was, do travel agents and tour operators, do they have the creativity to stay in the center of customer demand within the leisure industry? And I threw that question out, and I'm very happy that you're here so you can answer that question.
Yeah. So I think there is, I'm really glad to be here because I think there are a lot of cliches around the tour operators, and especially the two big ones in Europe. And all the problems that I see in the room in terms of owning the customer or taking advantage of the growth of online, we have exactly the same challenges at Thomas Cook. And we have already a lot of great success with that. And I would say if you would count all our online businesses across Europe and compare it to some of the OTAs that are present in this room, well, we wouldn't be ridiculous in terms of scale.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's get a bit deeper on it. Maybe, I know you are announcing your 6-month figures tomorrow, so I know you can not go too deep into it. But what about, just if we take it on a higher level, and we're talking about, we heard a lot about mobile, and we heard a lot about mobile penetration in general, and we just saw the research on our European research. What is the mobile pickup and the mobile interaction within the Thomas Cook Group?
So it's definitely a focus area for us. In the UK, for example, more than half of the traffic is actually on mobile, including tablets. But actually, the biggest portion now, our biggest channel is smartphone. And in terms of booking, actually, we have almost now 40% of our bookings online are actually on smartphone and tablets. So it is already picking up.
That's look and book, right?
That's search and book, yeah.
Yeah, making the transaction.
Yes, making the transaction and paying online.
How did you achieve that?
I think it's been a long journey, first of all. It didn't happen overnight. And it's been an area where we have put a lot of resources. And it's starting to pay off. But I think it's also a transformation of the customer who are actually searching and booking now on smartphone rather than on desktop.
Okay.
But it's also the proof that even if package holiday is supposed to be a more complex product, actually people are also booking this product on mobile.
So let's quickly go turn the discussion on supply, right? You, as Thomas Cook Group, you control 67% of your product, right? Which means these are your own products, and you control the channels, and you control the retail, and you control the margin. And 1/3 is not. And your controlled piece has only grown by 1%. Is that the end of the line, or what do we see happening there?
So you're talking about controlled distribution now?
Correct.
Yeah. So we have a very different situation in various geographies. In a market like Scandinavia, we have a full control of our distribution. So we are a fully B2C and actually online business. So it's 100% distribution directly with the consumer. In the UK, through our retail network, we have still 750 shops. And our website, we have approximately 80% control distribution. But when it comes to continental Europe, the situation is quite different. We rely a lot more on third-party retailers, online and offline. So the numbers that you are quoting, the 60%, is actually a mix of all these situations.
So when we're talking about brick and mortar, as you mentioned, and the retail is still a large portion of your total turnover going through your retail, right? You have maintained your investment in an offline presence with physical retail locations, right? What technology is most important and will become most important to support offline sales? I mean, that has been a challenge for years and years and years, right?
So we have a change there. First of all, we have less and less these customers that are only retail customers. So even the retail customers are going online to do some research before they actually enter the shops. So we have to have a great website for inspiration and search, even if they are booking within the shops. But when it comes to the shop and the retail itself, we are doing a lot of tests with virtual reality. And we have an advantage, which is we don't have a long tail of hotels. We don't have 1 million accommodation like booking. We concentrate on a lot less hotels, so we can go deeper in terms of presenting these hotels and investing into the content for presenting it to the customer.
That's an interesting one, which is actually part of that question, okay, so we'll talk about the brick and mortar. We understand that a lot of people go and search online, come into the retail store, get more advice and more, customer service, obviously, and then you have virtual reality. And I read that you have started some tests. Can you tell us anything about these tests and what have you found out? Do you think virtual reality, I mean, this is being hyped, right? Yeah. So we heard it before that virtual reality is the next big thing, also for retail. How do you see that? What's your experience with it, and what needs to happen for that to really help you on the conversion and give the experience across to the consumer?
So we have been investing into a few hotels where we have been asking a few agencies to actually produce the virtual reality content for these hotels.
So production is super complex, right?
So the production is super complex, and we have made a few mistakes probably, or let's say call it learnings, that if you want to go into virtual reality, you have to go into the quality. You have to invest money. You have to be, you don't have to go cheap. Go for the high level, and you have a lot of differences in terms of quality in that area. And what we have learned is, if you do it right.
From a return of investment standpoint, and let's stay on that a little bit longer. I mean, you're just testing that in certain outlets and locations. Is that the plan? You're going to roll that out across your entire agency network?
We are still learning. So it is a question that is relating to another one, which is what is the future of brochures for the retail, especially when you control your distribution, like in the UK. So that's two topics that are actually related, and there will be a transformation, not overnight, but we probably have to introduce virtual reality while we are, let's say, cutting down on brochures.
So cutting down on brochures will save you a ton of money, right? as well, and that is something that you can probably reinvest into that technology.
It is. It's not only for saving money, it is also that it is a bit outdated in terms of presenting a product. You know, it's 4 images and a hotel description on one page. I think through the web you have a lot more possibilities, so it's time to move on and be more inspirational.
Okay. So let's talk about product. We say that every hotel that you're selling, anybody else can sell as well, right? So how to get uniqueness into the package holiday? Because it's like, you know, you buy it here, you buy it at TUI, you buy it at Thomas Cook, wherever, it's always the same stuff. Yeah. What's your strategy on that? Because we're talking about later, hopefully we're going to talk about unbundling, bundling of products as well. But that, for me, sort of the key issue is that, you know, how do you stay unique in your product offering without taking too much risk on what you buy in, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the core of the business model of the tour operator. Rather than going for the long tail like Booking or Expedia, and we don't have the resources for pursuing the same strategy, we stick to our model of a short tail of hotels that we know for many, many years. And it's a few thousand, but we have long-term relationship with these hotels. We take risk. We invest into this hotel. We refurbish the rooms. We refurbish the pool, and we are for the long run with them. We have even a hotel academy where we actually help the hoteliers to get better at doing the food, getting better at the service. So it's a completely different model that goes a lot deeper in the hotel experience that you would have with an OTA. Of course, automatically it gives us an access to inventory and to rates that you wouldn't find on the OTAs.
Yeah, sure. But risk, right? So can you tell us how much risk you take on hotels, or you can't?
It varied with the hotel. So, you know, the contract can vary from 3 years, to 1 year, even to 8 years sometimes. We also own quite a few hotels ourselves. So the situation is different from an hotel to another.
Hey, Simon, we have a question from the floor.
Yep.
It's over here on the left side.
Yeah.
Hi, Jules. You mentioned before that half of your online bookings come from mobile. How many of your retail store bookings are made on mobile? And if none, do you have a strategy of actually converting people while they're in the store so they can then continue using the mobile app?
Sorry, I didn't get the beginning of the question.
The beginning was that you mentioned that 40% or half of your bookings online are made on mobile.
Yes.
The question was how many of bookings in your retail stores are actually done on mobile, and whether that is a way for you to engage people while they're in the store, making sure that they are using the mobile app, selling them onto that, and then keeping them with you on mobile in the future.
So in our retail stores, you mean? Or?
Yeah.
So actually, we book differently in the retail store. We have a equivalent version of the website that our retailers are using for booking. So usually we do the work for the customer.
So we have another question from the audience.
Hi, hello, Gilles. This is Danilo from Amadeus. I just wanted to ask you if you also have a strategy on content, using content that is not owned by Thomas Cook, such as scheduled flights, hotels, could be other sorts of home rentals maybe, but also the creative content. We saw this morning a company that is kind of crowdsourcing that creative content. Are you looking at that side of the business as well, at packaging all that together dynamically and serving that?
Yeah, so there are two aspects in your question, I guess. The first aspect is we have evolved in terms of business model. So it's not always our flights with our hotels. So we have started a few years ago already doing what we call dynamic packaging, which is not what you would see on Expedia, for example. It is actually creating a package that is a mix of other hotels and our airline, or other airlines with our hotels. And the goal is to give more choice to the customer when it comes to the flights, for example, for a destination where we wouldn't have a lot of flights, or more choice for a destination where we don't have enough hotel content. So we do dynamic packaging as well. It's not core, but that's an extension of our model.
Can I just quickly pick up on that question? And, you know, coming from the alternative lodging space, I was always very keen to talk to tour operators who start packaging vacation rental, alternative lodging, and this hasn't really seemed not to have really taken off. I mean, if you look at certain destinations like Spain, coming from the UK, the market is huge, right?
Yeah.
So you have obviously the low-cost carriers, so you control the flight leg, but you have your own airline, you have your own seat capacity.
Yeah.
And is that economically interesting for a tour operator to get involved in packaging alternative lodging, or is it just, the economics are better with hotels?
So I guess it's not necessarily a economics question for us. It's more a customer value proposition question. I explain. We are, as a tour operator, insisting a lot on being around when the customer is traveling, at the airport, in transfer, at destination. If you start going in the direction of private accommodation, you can't offer this service anymore in all destinations. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is health and safety. We, as a tour operator, have a lot of constraints, but also promises towards the customer around health and safety. So to give you an example, on the top 1,000 hotels that we are selling, we physically audit these hotels every year to make sure that we don't send millions of customers to hotels that could be risky. How do we do that with private accommodation is a question that we don't have an answer for today. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Simon, we have another question from the audience.
Hi, my name's Alex from Fastpay Hotels. Gilles, question on your competition. If you had to stack rank, right, from worst to least, your biggest competitors out of low-cost carriers, Airbnb, TUI, and Expedia Booking, where does Thomas Cook, in that order, see its biggest threats?
Well, the most obvious competition when you talk within Thomas Cook or outside Thomas Cook is TUI. Personally, I'm not convinced that TUI is our biggest competitor. Of course, it is, and there are other tour operators that are also very active in this area. But I guess we are all under the pressure of the new, not new anymore, players around. So Booking, Expedia, and the other OTAs for a while, for sure. But also the low-cost carriers that have been starting with dynamic packaging more recently, some with great ambitions, like Ryanair has been announcing really great plans in that area. So I guess it's no longer just the tour operator. It is all the world out there. And we have to keep the best of the tour operator model, but also take the best of the flexibility of the new models that are here now.
On this point, I would like to squeeze in my last question, which is burning under my nail. Looking at the market cap of Thomas Cook Group at £1.4 billion, with a difference of 88.6 billion to Priceline. What's wrong?
Well, I guess that's a question for the financial community. No, I think there are two aspects. One is Thomas Cook has been going through a tough times in the last 6-7 years. And I guess it's been a while before we can prove that we turned around the company. I would say this period is behind us now. The economics are way stronger. We still have a big debt with us. The cash flows are way better, but I guess we are still paying this 6-7 years behind us in restructuring the company. The second thing is there is a question mark around the tour operator model, and we have to prove that there is some space and a good space for these customers that are traveling more and more, but want assistance, want a 360 customer experience, the same airline, and a company that has and knows its hotels inside out, that is doing health and safety, but provides at the same time the flexibility that OTAs are providing. So that's what we are working on.
You're on a great mission. I wish you good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, Gilles Despas, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gilles.